Welcome back to Fantasy Sports Insight YouTube channel. We have another edition of our MLB breakdown. I am here with TK Nation. We are going to be breaking down tomorrow's classic slate. You can also find the showdown breakdown in our channel as well. Give us a subscribe, throw us a like, a comment about TK's shirt or my hat. I don't care. Whatever you want to comment on. One other thing is in the future here, be on the lookout. We are going to be dropping some coupon codes throughout our YouTube channel, YouTube videos, not necessarily at the beginning or the end. We're trying to encourage you guys to listen and to use our DFS content that we are giving you free almost daily. So we are going to hop into the slate. We are going to break it down pitching and then game by game for hitters. I will be hosting here for TK and also giving some of my homer bias for my Minnesota Twins, which I already got to talk about today. But let's hop into the slate. And always be on the lookout for news, Twitter, with the COVID news happening, we don't know what other games will drop and things like that. So just be on the lookout for everything. I think this time, more than any time, you need to be paying attention. So let's start with the pitchers. Go ahead, TK. I know at the time, I know this pitching is like, you look at two guys and the rest you kind of want to just throw in the garbage can, but what are you looking at here?
If I'm going to go with my top cash play, it'll probably be Walker Buehler against the Astros, and that's tough to do at 11-3. But from a raw talent standpoint, Walker Buehler is the best pitcher on this slate. He's got a 10 K per nine, less than 2 walk per nine, and he's got a 29% K rate, holding batters to a 221 average. So, he's one of the best young studs in the game. I know he's facing Houston, but Walker Buehler, best play on the slate. I have a secret stack that allows him to fit that salary. So I'm gonna have to play Walker in cash, and I'll go with that for my top cash play.
I think like when you talk about Walker here, like if this was like opening day and he was 11-3, you would say no way at Houston, right? So like. Even as like a DFS player, you always just have to compare the price and the matchup relative to the slate. At Houston is a brutal matchup, but the highest upside, the highest chance a pitcher here can get like 25 or 30 is Buehler, and then it's not much after that. So I think, like you said, the best play on the slate, but it's definitely relative to the slate, not necessarily like the pricing and the matchup in a vacuum. So. Absolutely. All right, after Walker Buehler, where do you want to go here for some potential SP2s? Because I think that will be the pivotal spot on this entire slate, in cash at least.
Right. So this was a brutal research to try to find somebody to pitch in my SP2. I have a few names. Carlos Martinez, I wrote down. I'm not expecting him to pitch more than 5 innings at the max. He is a 56% ground ball pitcher, holds the ball in the yard a lot, and he can get the Ks in bunches, 9 Ks per nine, 26% K rate. So I know he's priced up, and he's probably not going to see more than 5 innings if he even sees something like 3 or 4. But I know he can get me, 6 Ks, 7 Ks in bunches. And that's overall what we're looking for here on DraftKings is Ks. Like the win bonus isn't as big like it is on FanDuel. So what I did last night was, I punted Graveman. Graveman ended up giving up 6 runs, but he struck out 6. He still had 7 points. He still outscored the guys that got blown up. So sometimes K upside matters more than longevity in a game and or giving up runs. So I think Carlos Martinez with his K rate is viable. Another guy I like is a punt, and probably because it's a minus 191 favorite, and that's Patrick Sandoval. I'm definitely not going to pitch Pablo Sandoval. That would be a
sight to see.
Yeah, that'd be like Bartolo Colon back out there.
Hey, Minnesota Twins.
Yeah. He hit a homer for the Mets. I'll never forget it.
That is one of the best 5-second clips you'll ever see is him hitting a bomb.
Yeah, that was awesome. But yeah, Patrick Sandoval, 45% hard contact rate is high. but he does have a 9K per nine. Like I was alluding to with Carlos Martinez, sometimes you just want guys that could strike people out, and he's got a pretty good K rate, 24%. Limits batters to 235. Another thing, Seattle, their best hitters like Seager and Shed Long are lefties. So Patrick is a lefty himself. That's going to really negate some of their better hitters on their team. So I won't expect much from the Mariners against Sandoval. I think that's probably going to be my SB2 in cash. Just pray. Or I can maybe pay up for a guy like Meryl Kelly and use a stack I was thinking of later. Meryl Kelly is a good prospect coming out of Arizona. They've produced some good ones over the past years with, they had Trevor Bauer before he went to the Indians. Yeah, they have a couple good other did they have Luke Weaver before they traded him to St. Louis? Yeah. So they've produced some good prospects in the past.
Didn't Greinke start there, or did he come?
Greinke got drafted by the Royals, and then he got traded.
That's right.
Yeah. But Meryl Kelly's not much of a strikeout pitcher, but I think he has a better chance of pitching 6 to 7 innings. Texas is not as dynamic for hitters this year as it was in the past. I think Meryl Kelly has a good chance of limiting some hard contact, only 42%, and his homer to fly ball rate's only 14%. So if Meryl Kelly could find 6 or 7 innings, and maybe he doesn't give up a run, he'll get a quality start. I think he can be a pretty good 20 to 25 point guy, even though he is 10K. So that's pretty much all I'm seeing on pitching. I'm not really going to try a Zach Davies or a Daniel Megden. I'm just going to try to find my hitters, and maybe Patrick Sandoval can take us all the way there for our punt.
Yeah, and my Twins pitchers, former and current, I would pass on both of them as well. Kyle Gibson and Homer. So Bailey is the journeyman, man. He might get 5-6 innings, but he's definitely going to give up 3 or 4 runs and probably only have a couple strikeouts. So
I'll tell you why not to pitch Homer Bailey tomorrow.
All right, let's get into we're going to go game by game. And if there are some games we're a little bit less interested in, we will just kind of pass on that. But we will go game by game with our hitters. Again, obviously value will come out when lineups come out, but we will just kind of outline where we're looking to stack and our favorite hitters of the game. So let's start here with Milwaukee and Pittsburgh. Is there anybody that is jumping out to you other than somebody with the name of Christian Yelich?
I'm actually not interested in Yelich. It looks like he's guessing at the plate right now. And he is a decent lefty hitter, and Derek Holland is actually a guy that gives up hard contact to lefties. So I could understand the play. I don't think I'm going to go there with the price tag, and he has not really looked like the same Christian Yelich. But my interest is on the Pittsburgh side. Josh Bell has been crushing the ball. He's hitting it really hard. I know he hit 2 homers in Cleveland before the start of the season, and he has been doing pretty well at limiting his strikeouts as well. 4.9 is not a bad price for some homer upside. He's always a guy that can hit 2 in one game as well. Colin Moran just hit 2 homers last night. He's got 3K. He's 3K. And Adam Frazier is 3.5K, another lefty. I really like the lefties in this matchup against a righty from Milwaukee, who I don't know too much about. It could be a bullpen game for them, and they just won 11 innings, so the bullpen could be pretty worn down. So I understand the Pirates stack from that standpoint. Other names you could probably play, Brian Reynolds, and Gregory Blanco made his way back from the DL too.
Yeah, it always seems like Frazier and Newman are those like cash guys that, like hitting 1 or 2 in the order. They're like $1,500 cheaper than the top.
Yep.
But this is definitely a nice matchup where I think not only do they have 5 to 8 point upside, but they can actually, get double digits without a home run, where they're getting on base, hitting RBIs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Do you want anything on Milwaukee, or should we go on to our next game?
Milwaukee's looking pretty brutal. I'm going to have to pass.
All right, let's move into the KC-Detroit game, and let's definitely start on the KC side here.
Oh, yes.
I know you are excited about this.
Nobody over 4K. I mean, what? They just scored 12 runs. Not a single one of them's over 4K. I thought their pricing was disrespected last night, and then I seen this, and I was mind blown. Casey actually for playing as for striking out as much as they did against Cleveland, they did hit the ball pretty hard. When they were getting hits, they were hitting it pretty hard. They just couldn't keep up with Indians pitching, which is probably some of the best in the league. So KC is coming in this Detroit series very sneaky. I don't think I think the pricing is going to dictate a little bit more ownership for them. Whit Merrifield is a 200 hits per year kind of hitter, and he's not over 4K. That is absolutely disrespectful. We got Salvador Perez under 3K, and he's hitting the ball really well. Always a guy that can hit the ball through the infield. He doesn't have to hit you a home run at that price to get his value. Mondesi just went 0 for 5, so I think he's going to be coming out with a little extra pep for his play, and he's a guy that can walk, steal 2 bases, and he's at value already. So the KC stack is something I would heavily invest in tomorrow. If I'm making 20 lineups, I'm probably making at least 12, 13 KC stacks to go along with various pitching matchups and various one-off expensive bats to try and find my way to the very top.
You even got Franco down there at 2.2. Didn't he had a couple bombs too, right?
Yeah, he had 2 homers last night as well, and I think they were both off righties too.
Yeah, Salvador Perez is going to continue to be the chalk catcher play, I think.
Oh yeah,
on most of these slates.
Yeah,
hitting in a 4-hole, 2,800.
Yeah,
lock him in.
Whole
Detroit.
No, I mean, you know what? You could run it back on the other side, Sparkman, and then it's going to be Jorge Lopez. I don't know which one. That's the thing about Detroit. It's like if you don't stack them, and even then, when you stack them, you still don't know if you're getting the right stacking pieces. So Detroit's always a team where unless one guy is absolutely on fire, I just kind of avoid because I'm going to drive myself nuts trying to figure out which one is going to be the right play of the slate.
Yeah, I think like CJ Cron against lefties is viable, but not really here if you're going to see 2 righties. I know in Minnesota we'd always use him, against lefties. He'd get the DH role over some of our other guys. All right, moving on to the Mets and Boston. Boston let a lot of people down tonight. They had a couple things, Bogarts hit a bomb, but the stacks with JD and Devers did not turn into cash. So which side of the plate you want to start on here?
I'm back with the Mets. I think I've stacked the Mets 3 straight days. I really like this team setup. I think that the team's playing really well after they get Callaway out of the way. Pete Alonso, I know this stack's really expensive, so this is maybe something you can do in GPPs. If you want to go with Sandoval, you can finally find your way up with some salary on bats. Pete Alonso's got that short fence in Fenway. Jeff McNeil, always a guy for good hits. Conforto hit a bomb last night. J.D. Davis is a really good lefty smasher. And I think Giannis Cespedes had the night off last night, so he's going to be back in the lineup too, facing a lefty. Short fence. I think both of those plays are really, really good too. Give me the stack on the Mets.
That's bold. I like it. I think they'll probably go a little bit under own, especially with Alonso's form, and then maybe like people just shying away from McNeil, Conforto, lefty on lefty. So I think you're going to get some nice leverage on ownership, stacking them for sure. On the Boston side, facing another lefty, whenever I see lefty, I just, JD's name just like always just elevates to the top of the list. And he did get a little bit of a price bump, and maybe that was due to the matchup and the lefty on righty matchup. We haven't really seen him over 5K yet this year. So I think, he'd be one of my favorite targets here for Boston. And I think also like Bogarts at 4K is way too cheap.
Yeah, I think Bogarts was the guy I had circled on this team. Benintendi looks really bad. He was 0 for 9 with 5 Ks at one point in the first 2 days. So I'm going to have to pass on Benintendi till I see some form. There's Michael Chavas, 2.7. He's kind of the platoon first baseman with Moreland. He's pretty good. I wonder what his upside is. I don't think he's a 2-homer guy, but at 2.7K, you're not really asking for much from him. Pilar's pretty good against lefties. I mean, the obvious is JD and even Vasquez, but yeah, Bogart's probably the main piece from Boston that I would like.
Yeah, the one thing I've always noticed too, and I've played Chevy's because he'll be like hitting the 5-hole and be super cheap. He get 2 at bats, and then once they bring a righty reliever in, then Moreland pinch hits. So I do think, like you said, he might have a home run upside, but I just don't know that he's got like 2 bombs and just to break a slate. But he's definitely at 2.7K, worth a stab.
It's like a cash play than anything else.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Minnesota. I'll just talk a little bit about them here. Obviously I prefer like Cruz against a lefty, but then on the other side of this, like Kepler against righties getting to lead off. He just has that leadoff home run power. Polanco, we haven't seen it yet. Some of his flashes from last year, but we know he's really talented. Sano's a little bit too pricey for me just because, at least in cash. I think Sano is always GPP viable. He could hit 2 dongs that are like 500 feet each, but he also could easily go 0 for 5 with, 5 Ks, not just 2 or 3 Ks. I mean, he's the K master, but
he loves it.
So I think your Carlos Martinez call at pitcher, if he gets to Sano like twice, that's 2 guaranteed strikeouts.
Yeah, for sure. Garver is really good too. But yeah, like you said, the lefty would be better for Minnesota in this situation. Kepler is pretty strong play tomorrow. He likes that low pitch, and Carlos Martinez loves to throw those 2-seamers down and away, and I think Kepler really fits that build pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the prices for him are really intriguing, but it's just not the best match. Not nearly the best matchup on the slate. To probably to take a stab in cash to play more than maybe 1. I'm assuming on the St. Louis side, you are interested in targeting against Mr. Homer Bailey. So who's your favorite targets here for St. Louis?
Now, I like Homer Bailey. Don't get me wrong. I've played some spots where Homer Bailey's absolutely smashed the team that he was expecting to get smashed by. So I'm a Homer Bailey fan. But in this matchup, no thanks. The Cardinals have had his number in his career. He played for the Reds for a while, so he's got some at-bats against. Goldie's batting over 308 at-bats. DeYoung's got 2 homers, batting over 415 at-bats. Carpenter, 2 homers and 15 at-bats, over 280. Molina's batting over 500. So real core group of the Cardinals have really good BVP. And I think Edman is a guy that's not going to match up pretty badly against Bailey. Maybe it's just something he has against this team. And then you add the fact that St. Louis is going to get a DH, and he's going to lose that extra pitcher K that he's been, banking on with the Reds for all those times. So I think it's a bad matchup for Mr. Bailey, and I'm going to be looking for Cardinal stacks, maybe in GBPs.
Awesome. Let's move on to Arizona and Texas. I know we talked a little bit before the show. I think this is maybe a game you weren't super interested in on either side. Is there anybody that just maybe sticks out price-wise? I think Joey Gallo against a righty is always viable for a couple bombs at 4,100. I think is pretty enticing, but again, a little bit riskier for cash. Anybody else in this game that sticks out to you?
I was going to say Cole Calhoun, maybe, off of Gibson. Gibson is pretty prone to fly balls, and the only really home run threat on the Diamondbacks, other than maybe Peralta at times, would be Cole Calhoun. I could see Cole Calhoun taking Mr. Gibson deep, but that's just pure one-off dart throw GBP play, maybe spikes too. But other than that, I don't have much interest in stacking this game on either side.
Awesome. Let's move on to our last 4. Walker Buehler against Valdez, who is likely on, a pretty short leash here. I'm assuming with Walker Buehler interest, let's just go to the LA Dodgers side of this. Prices are pretty down. Like to see Bellinger under 5K is pretty intriguing, but it is a lefty on lefty matchup. I know he can still hit a bomb off of that. That's no issues. Oh, here, let me deselect these guys. Sorry about that.
So
go ahead.
So the thing is with like the lefty-lefty matchup, when you know you're going to get a guy that's not going to pitch more than 3 innings, this is what I did with the Mets tonight. I played Conforto and McNeil, and I was thinking, well, the Boston pitcher's not going to pitch more than 3 innings, so I'm probably going to get some righty matchups with those lefties. So it lucked out for me that Conforto hit a homer off the lefty, and then I had everything else was the bonus. But that's one thing I like to do in stacks is add the lefty to the stack, because if you're stacking up, 4 or 5 righties and they're pounding the lefty in the dirt, they're going to take that lefty out and then put in, a righty. And there, Bellinger or whatever lefty you have in a stack is going to be on the right side of the platoon. So it works out for you over the course of 9 innings rather than the start.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, so that's something I have interest in with Mookie Betts and Max Muncy, both really cheap. Kiki Hernandez is having a breakout year, so I like him as well.
All right, we are going on to the Seattle-LA game. As TK mentioned earlier, he does like Sandoval as a potential play. I don't know that it means completely fade Seattle, but I think we are definitely more on the LA side of this game. Rendon expected to make his first start for the Angels. Where are you looking here? Mike Trout getting a $6,000 price tag against the lefty. Any interest in the Angels' bats?
6K is pretty hefty for Trout, but obviously I'm going to like Trout no matter what. I really don't have much interest in the bats in this game because I don't know where to go. Upton is a cheap bat against the lefty, 3.6K. Other than that, I'm actually thinking maybe Justice Sheffield could limit the hard contact, and this stack isn't as good as what people are going to hope for.
I was kind of hoping for a little bit more of a discount on Rendon, actually. Like 5.2K out of the gate seems a little bit heavy, but I guess when they priced Trout up that much, there had to be enough of a price difference between the two. So, all right, moving on to Colorado and Oakland. Which side do you want to start on here?
I like the A's. Sanzatella is just a garbage pitcher to me. It's something I never ever pitched against. I think Matt Olsen leads the way. Can you hear the dog drinking water behind me?
I can, yeah.
Oh, Jesus, she's going to town. So full disclosure on why I've changed locations. My phone was dying, and I had to move to the kitchen to have my charger plugged in. And, of course, the dog follows me up here and starts drinking water. She's a freaking horse. So let me just start that over. Yeah, I like the A's. Starting off with Matt Olsen, big power lefty against Sanzatella, who loves to throw low ground ball pitches. So it's going to be right in his wheelhouse coming from the left side. Chris Davis hits righties better, so I think he's another good play. I think, Marcus Semien. You got some of those guys like Pinder, and is Robbie Grossman still playing on the A's?
He does. He's not. He
ex-twin.
Yeah, he's still on there, but I don't know. I think he maybe made the lineup once, but they've been using Pinder, Piscotty.
Piscotty's, that's the guy I was thinking of. So yeah, Piscotty's pretty good. So
and even Tony Kemp has been getting some burn too. So
that's a lefty.
Yeah, are you interested in anybody on Colorado here? Prices are pretty high, but
yeah, the thing with the Rockies is they're going from Texas in Coors is their main park to a big park in Oakland. I have no faith in Magden, but then at the same time, I don't know where I want to attack him with the Rockies. So if you would stack them, it would make sense. But other than that, I don't know which one-off is going to be the one-off that wins the slate.
Yeah, and it's tough to stack them at the same price that you'd be stacking
Right.
Coors. You know what I mean?
I rather take the Mets. So I've built my mound on the high stack for the Mets tonight.
All right. And then our last game against the Padres and the Giants. Um, I assume, just like myself, I am more on the San Diego side of this matchup just because I just think these guys get criminally underpriced. Like Machado, 3.9K. Grisham, 3,500, will be hitting second likely against a righty. Tatis has just got that stolen base power upside. I mean, how do you not? And same with Tommy Pham. I can't argue against any of the top four here for the Padres.
Yeah, that's what I got circled too. Lefties as well. Greg Garcia, if he starts. Austin Hedges had good BVP. He was batting over 400 with a bomb. Hosmer had good BVP, but I'm not sure where he is with his injury and why he got scratched for the last game. But yeah, I'm with you. Padres side all the way here.
And then San Francisco, just kind of a pass for me. I still can't. My brain can't figure out Hunter Pence being 5,200, so I think I just don't even want to bat an eye at this lineup. So
yeah, I don't know where to go with the Giants. I do like Yastrzemski and Dickerson facing a righty, two lefty bats. So they play pretty well, and I think they'll go 1 and 4 in the order. Something I like to do on the late slate, but I'll have A's and Padres for that late slate for sure.
Awesome. Well, thanks, TK, for breaking this down. Just to kind of sum it up, we're looking at Walker Buehler. Some of TK's favorite stacks are KC and the Mets. That second pitcher spot is just going to be so pivotal, I think, in this slate. And I don't think there's a really clear answer. So I think as the day goes on, you and us, we all might be, changing our mind on that SP2. But thanks again, TK, for breaking it down for us here. We will hopefully be on again here soon. Again, look out for us to drop some coupon codes in our YouTube videos, and you can subscribe below to the MLB premium channel where I'm giving out core plays for all the showdown. TK and Mega are going to be running DK and FanDuel classic slates. We got the short slates. We got everything you want. So if you want a late slate core, you throw it out there, we'll get you one. So any last, parting words, TK?
I closed some solo videos over the weekend with a lock homer, top value lock homer, a pitcher with 10 Ks, and a value homer. So I was going to try to do the same thing. Forgot to mention it before we started. I was going to do my top tier homer as 5K and up is what I was looking for. I'm going to go with Pete Alonso again. So back-to-back days, Pete Alonso finds the homer, pitcher over 10K, 10 Ks. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to think Carlos Martinez gets 4 innings and 10 Ks. He's going to pull the Glasgow against your Twins. And value bat homer, I'm going to take let me get a good one here. Going to be a KC bat for sure. I'm going to go with Sal Perez. Sal Perez is going to hit a homer.
Another bomb.
2.9. Yeah.
I'll just tell you that Martinez will not get 10 Ks, especially if a Rise is in the lineup. That is one automatic.
Yeah.
Okay, he's got the lowest K rate in the entire league. Jorge Polanco also has one of the lowest K rates, but Sano, Cruz,
Garver can strike out sometimes too.
Yeah. Good thing we got rid of that garbage Jason Castro, so he struck out every bad too. But
he hit a homer the other day.
Yeah, I saw that hitting for the Angels. But all right, man. Thanks a lot. We will sign out here and be on the lookout for more video content at FSI on our YouTube channel. Thanks a lot. Let's see.
Sorry about that in between.
Oh, that's okay.